What's up, you guys? It's your girl, Ash Brown, and this is Ash Brown Uncensored. On this program, I talk a little bit about everything. It may be pop culture related, but it might be Ash Brown related. So you gotta stay tuned to see what I'm gonna talk about. Okay, so this is a pop culture reference. So many of you know comedian Luenell. She is world renowned. Her career spans 30 plus years. I don't know exactly the timeline. I'm sure she could absolutely share that. But I've seen a clip of her in a heated back and forth with a radio station that she was going to be a guest on. So many of you know that I have a background in radio broadcast. I started when I was in college. I was an intern, stepped it up to producer, pretty much an MC or voiceover person, all of that stuff balled up in one. So I've had my experience in the industry and I know how things go and how things should go. On the other hand of that, I'm also a consumer. So I listen to the radio and I know and I see the different characteristics and the different motives that they do on these shows. So the main issue was Luenell was coming up to the station to promote her show, I think, that she was doing that weekend in Dallas. And the station, the crew, whatever, the morning crew that they were, they did not promote her coming down to the station. Let me tell you guys, there were countless times that I worked at stations where a guest or whoever was coming down, even though I may not know who the heck they were because we were in Columbus, but they made, the jockeys made sure to promote and say, hey, in the next hour, so-and-such is going to come up and we're going to talk about X, Y, and Z things, blah, 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 woo-de-woo. The fact that Luenell got out of her bed, when she could have just stayed in the bed and just not did anything, she got out of her bed and her team and her family, whoever, were in the car listening. And this morning show was not promoting her coming on their show to promote. I understand that was an easy ad lib. That was an easy talk for them to have. That was an easy segue into commercial. That makes no sense. Shame on that team. Shame on those producers and everyone who wasn't reminding them, hey, because sometimes I get it. You may be out of your element and you are just so whatever. But the fact that Luenell did not hear them promoting her coming up to the station to talk about her show and everything else, they were talking about and promoting T.I. Let me tell you, I love T.I. King of the South. I love T.I. I do. However, T.I. wasn't coming up to the studio within the hour. I have heard countless times of stations because sometimes they just don't have shit else to talk about. They don't have nothing else going on in the moment. And the whole day is usually surrounded about this celebrity coming up to the station. So they use that as promotion. They use that as segue. Why this team did not do that, I don't know. I can't speak for that. But I tell you, they got one hell of a tongue lashing from Luenell, as they should have. They deserved it. They earned that one. There's no reason that this legend, this living legend, is coming up to the studio and y'all aren't talking about it. That's crazy to me. That is wild. That would not have happened in Atlanta. That would not have, because if that had happened in Atlanta, Luenell wouldn't have even showed up. Straight up and down. Straight up and down. She wouldn't even showed up. But the fact that they allowed that happened and then they thought that they were going to have a good interview with her, good luck. I do not blame Luenell at all. She should be respected. She should be celebrated. And I know, like right now, the easy segue to try to get her talking about stuff is her and Albie shirt. I don't know about that. I don't care about that. That's celebrity gossip. That's whatever. I don't care about that. I want to hear about this show. I want to hear about the energy that you're going to bring this weekend. I want to hear about your inspiration for this material. But it was a missed opportunity. A missed opportunity. She felt slighted, as she should have felt. You honestly, this is not somebody that's new on the block. And I get it. It's easy to talk about T.I. this and T.I. that and T.I. album and all that. I love T.I. But T.I. wasn't coming down to the studio right then. That's what it comes to being about. So that was a very, and animated. I don't think I've ever seen Luenell publicly out of her her good persona. For the most part, yeah, she may vent on social media and things of that nature. So you'll see little clips here and there, but I've never seen her like go off on people in real life. So it was very interesting to see because it also shows another layer. She's a person. She's important. She should be celebrated. Why wouldn't you be promoting her coming up to the studio? I don't know their reasonings why. It was, I'm sure, a very painful interview for them because they screwed the pooch. They screwed it from the time that before she even walked in there. She brought a whole different type of energy that I, as a fan, I've never seen Luenell bring before, but I understand why it was brought. I understand. I don't think that, I mean, and she addressed it. That was the first thing that she addressed, rightfully so. I don't think that those kids fully understand why she was upset, but that made no sense. That made zero sense for them not to be talking about, hey, Luenell is held up here. She's going to be up here in 30. You guys look forward to, she's going to talk about this. She would have been a lot more jovial and animated had she been promoted, celebrated prior to her getting to the station. Where's the excitement? Oh, just ran. Oh, Luenell's here. What the fuck do you mean Luenell is here? You should have been telling the audience that Luenell was coming. That should have been priority. But that's my take on it. I do not blame Luenell at all. I do not blame her. I believe that she should be celebrated. And them doing that just shows a whole lot about what they think about Luenell. It really does. They may not realize it in the moment, but she probably not coming back there. She's not. They better promote it. They better talk. She was teaching them. She was giving them a crash course in how you treat celebrities, how you treat people, and she deserves it. She, like I said, this is a legend. She's a living legend. She has a career that spans far more than their little career in radio, which probably, let me give you a clue, ain't gonna last super long. When I was working at radio in Columbus, Georgia, I could be helping at a radio station that Friday. I'm doing spots for them. I'm doing this. We're getting all of the bannerage and the media artwork and all this stuff. We're getting all that stuff together. I would come back on Monday and that station would be gone. Gone. Just finito. Finished. That happened a couple of times while I was there. And I wasn't there for maybe about 2 years. I was there for about 2 years in Columbus. And yeah, they totally cleaned freaking house. But that's the way of radio. That's the industry. That's what it is. So these young cats that's coming out, I hope that these other ones were paying attention. I surely hope that they've been paying attention because this was a crash course on how you treat these celebrities, these people, regardless of if you're familiar with their comedy or not. Her resume precedes her. She should be celebrated before she walks through the door. And that's all I got to say for that. That's it. That's all I got to put out there. But end of it, Luenell, I love you. And I know that there are many, many great things to come your way. So continue to do what you do. And I love it. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. Follow me across social media at OneLoveAsh, the number 1, LOVEASH. And I'll holler at y'all later. Deuces.